Good morning, guys. I apologize for the raspy voice. As you can tell, or may or may not be able to tell, but daylight is breaking behind me. Come on, Pumpkin. Come on. Come say hi. Pumpkin Waffles, everyone, for those of you who know and love her already or may not have met her yet. Yeah, sun is just starting to, the peak of the sun is just starting to pull up over the lake behind me. It's gorgeous. But with any luck, you guys are getting some of this amazing chorus of birds singing behind me as well. I was having a little bit of insomnia and had been laying in bed for 2 hours, kind of doing everything I could think of to get myself to get some sleep before that beautiful bundle of joy of ours wakes up and we have a wonderful, fun, full day again. It was 110 heat index here yesterday, and I had a DJ gig all day, so it was exhausting, and I could not figure out. It was amazing and exhausting, but I couldn't figure out why in the world. I just couldn't sleep, and just kept getting this nagging feeling that I needed to come and post a video. So, working on following my intuition and just following that prompting. I think sometimes when we wake up in the middle of the night and we have those feelings, the best thing we can do is just ask what's going on. Why are we awake? What do we need to be dealing with? What don't we need to be dealing with? Do we need to be praying, doing a little meditation, a little yoga, a little soul searching, or just be quiet, maybe listen to some music. There are many different reasons. For me, in this particular instance, I needed to come talk with you guys. So what was mulling through my mind as I was laying there in bed was freedom. And there's this amazing song that I just love by the Crowder Band, David Crowder, and his amazing group, which I just got to see in Colorado with my amazing parents and several others. But in the song, it talks about if you're free, prove it. If you're not, lose it. Rip the chains off freedom. Those aren't verbatim. Forgive me and my morning brain. You should go listen to the song. I'll link it below. But great song, especially as we're heading into our 4th of July weekend. And, I wonder what to us freedom really means anymore. What does it mean to you? We take such pride of that here in this country, and there are so many variations of what that actually means to be free. And I would say that if you have seen my other videos, that an argument can definitely be made that slavery is more alive today than it has ever been in recorded history. But beyond that as well, what about our own inner freedom, our baggage, our luggage, our chains, our things that we hold on to, and do those chains serve us anymore? I know that so many of us want to break free of those chains, and we want freedom, we want joy. I mean, I think if you ask most anyone what they want in life, what do you most people seem to kind of answer either to be rich and famous or just to be happy. And I think that for me personally, in my experience, I think money is garbage. I think it only has value because we allow it to have value, because our culture has given it value. And I think that, in my opinion, it's just the devil's toilet paper. And I see so many people who let it rule their lives, and it can become a chain and a shackle to them. And it breaks my heart to watch that when it happens. And you do get to see a whole different side of people when that happens as well sometimes. And I just feel so, I just wish that they could see that it's not real. it's we put so much energy into it, and it causes so much pain and sorrow. And so many people have said that it takes getting a lot of money to realize that it's not what we're looking for. And for other people, it may be emotional baggage. It may be things that have oh, before I get on to that, though, talking about money, I would definitely encourage those of you who do find yourselves having a strong emotional reaction to what I'm saying about money and it not being real, or the necessity of it. I would really encourage you to look into the Ubuntu movement, Umbu NTU, and I'll link it below as well. But it's really fascinating what some cultures have done, and what can be accomplished when you change a financial system. And I think deep down inside, we all know that a financial change is coming, that something is lurking, and whatever that may be, whatever your thoughts are, and you have people looking into precious metals. We had the big crash in 2008. You have Bitcoin and Ethereum and all this chatter, this collective movement kind of around things needing to change with the central banking system and money in general. So, I would prepare yourselves for what a transition may look like, and look into, we need to choose what option we want, what we want to move forward with, because that's what our freedom should be about, is choosing to create the kind of world that we want to live in. The Ubuntu movement is with Michael Tillinger it's amazing, and when you look at it and you see what can be done in these communities that are starting to pop up, it's so great. And that's where I put my heart, my choice in, and we'll be pushing more of that and introducing more of it later. But just something for you to look into if you do feel that strong reaction, or if you feel that you want to see what a world would look like without money. Back to other freedoms, though, so many of us, myself included, obviously, we have these chains wrapped around us, these emotional memories or hurts or wounds and traumas, and so much that we can choose to hold us back, to restrict our freedom. And it took me really having to be able to get to a place where you can just sit in quiet and sit and look at yourself and sit and just really feel the feels, as my dear friend says, just to understand that our emotions are a barometer inside of us. And sometimes when we are having strong reactions, that's our soul trying to tell us something is wrong or right, or to do it or not to do it. Many different things. But when we're constantly, using alcohol or music or social media or television or recreational things or prescription things to numb out these senses, these feelings, these emotions, we really lose that opportunity to talk with our souls, to get in touch with our higher selves and what God or source, or whatever term you feel most comfortable with, the all-loving being that I believe has created all of everything that we see, everything that we don't see, everything that we're yet to see, that it's going to be really exciting to experience. But when we get so afraid of feeling and being in that moment of uncomfortable emotion, we really miss an opportunity to grow and to experience how we can step out of that freedom. It may be something as simple as, these thoughts keep coming into our heads, and realizing that just because you think something doesn't make it true. Our brain generates thoughts. That's what part of its job is to do. But that doesn't mean that just because we were thinking something. You know, today is a great example. Straight out of bed, out onto the patio for you guys. You know, I'm sure I got my puff going. I got my extra messy bun, but I don't care. Like, but I could choose to say, oh, I don't want to do a video. I know I look tired and not well rested, and like I have a baby and worked in the heat all day. But if I choose to let that thought become truth in my head, then maybe I won't come and do this video, and I won't have this beautiful morning to experience and to share with all of you. And it's, you know, I don't even think it's true. It's like, yeah, so I may not look as well rested, but I don't think that that makes me look any less beautiful. You know, beauty comes from here. From here too. But that if we learn to distinguish the difference between what is just a passing thought and what is truth, and when we can identify that things are not, they're just a passing thought, and you can let it go, you can experience so much freedom just in that alone, learning to be the controller of your mind, not your mind being the controller of you, which is another amazing form of freedom. But I was watching this really great, it's pretty long, but a great interview by Ronald Bernard, who is another fantastic soul who has come forward and is fighting for healing for the inner child, all of our inner childs, and, you know, all our inner children, that so many of us don't realize the immense gravity and severity that childhood trauma and early childhood trauma really has on the soul and on our collective soul when you are experiencing so much trauma and darkness in the world. And Ronald's come through from the darkness into the light. He used to be working in some not so savory facets of life, and after he had experienced his own childhood trauma, that was how he lashed out, was he wanted to create more destruction and chaos. And through his own healing, he's realized it's beautiful to hear his story talking about how he is self-admittedly someone who wanted to kill and destroy and cause as much havoc on Earth as he possibly could because of what he had experienced. But that in reality, even through all of that, he felt that, he describes it as he had his inner child had been barricaded in a bunker and was refusing to come out, and he had done everything in his life to try and keep that inner child barricaded in that bunker because the world wasn't a safe place. Even though, in, you know, the ironic twist, he was creating a world that was the world that was so scary and so devastating to that child in his own way. And what really got me thinking is, if you want to watch it, and if you don't want to watch the whole thing, you know, go forward to 1 hour and 54 minutes. It's right towards the end of the interview, but at 1 hour and 54 minutes, he has such beautiful and enlightening words to say that, you know, in reality, and it sounds cliche, it's Michael Jackson's song and all these things, but that if we are not liking the world that we see, we really need to stop pointing this one finger forward at everyone else and all the things that are going wrong and all the bad things and all the bad people, and realize that while we have one finger pointing out, we have three, well, four depending on how you point, but you have more fingers pointing right back at you, and that in reality, that's the perfect place you need to start. We all have traumas, we all have things that we regret, things that we wish that we have done that we wish we hadn't, and that hold us. You know, those are all chains as well. Those are all things keeping our inner child barricaded inside of us. And that is not freedom. We may be as, you know, free as a jaybird. But if we're not releasing ourselves inside, what good is the freedom that we're experiencing on the outside if we have ourselves shackled up inside? So, again, I can't express enough how beautiful I think this world is, how beautiful I think life is, and how much we have the opportunity to share that with people. And I know that sometimes the things that I talk about, and I know that sometimes the thing that we're all learning about right now, just in general on any scale, can feel really dark and really disheartening and really discouraging. But I mean, if you can see just a little bit of what's behind me, if you can hear a little bit of what's going on, I mean, that's just a small taste of life. I mean, we're not even tapping into the full potential of what we could create if we could just come together in love, if we could come together in forgiveness, if we could learn to have grace and compassion with ourselves, first and foremost. And once we can learn to have grace and compassion with ourselves, we learn how much easier it is to extend that grace and compassion to everyone that we interact with. Having that spare forgiveness and compassion and grace in our back pocket for when someone has their bad day and wrongs us or hurts us, and rather than holding on to that and letting that be a thorn into our side, extending that grace out to them, let them know what that feels like. It's all a beautiful part of the puzzle, and I know all the neighbors are waking up, and Pumpkin wants to make sure I'm protected. So I think that's going to be our cue to end it here for the day. But I just thank you so much for stopping by, listening to these morning musings by Hippsy. I'm not sure if it will reach. I'm sure it will reach someone. I'm certain there's something in here that was meant for someone else who will need to hear at some point, or some link that needs to be shared, because I could not get this nagging feeling out of my head. And so I'm here. So for whoever that may be, or, thank you for getting me out to enjoy this beautiful sunrise, to spend some time with my first baby who gets jealous a lot of the time. And, I want to let you all know that I love you so, so, so much. You are so eternally loved. I think that if we can all learn to remember and tap into the fact that we are love, we can be the full embodiment of that. What a great place that would be. And the more we can continue to focus, and while we do still need to shine a light on the dark festering parts of the world as well, just for healing, to remove it like a cancer, that doesn't mean that we can't also still be plugging in all our energy to what we want to see, to the world that we want to create, that we are creating. We are creating it, and it's a beautiful place. It's amazing. And these great steps are being taken every day. For all the bad things you hear, there are many more amazing things and amazing people that are doing things that we're just not seeing, and you may not be aware, but you have to trust and believe that it is happening. I know it. I see it. I see these people. I know those people. I see you on there too. So again, I just want to thank you so much for stopping by, checking this video out, enjoying this beautiful morning with me, and out on the Ozarks. Love you, and I look forward to next time.